Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston with Our Blooming Catholic Life, and today we're going to talk about celebrating the Liturgy of the Hours, the technicalities. You can see I have a few inserts in my book. Let's just kind of dump those out and take them aside for a minute. No, let's say what they are. We're going to get to the table of liturgical feasts in a minute because that's a big hang up that confuses a lot of people. But let's just talk about what some of this stuff is and why this one doesn't have a cover. I lost the cover. I have a set of 4 covers, right? I happen to lose the one for volume 4. Yay me. But let's go in here. Why this looks so bad. So normally these are stuck inside the cover, not necessarily inside the book. This is a supplement. So these books were printed, depending on the ones you have, probably in the 60s or 70s. And so there have been some saints in there since then. So the supplement, new feasts and memorials for the general Roman calendar, and for the proper calendar for the dioceses of the United States of America. So if you have been looking for these following saints: Blessed Andre Bessette, Blessed Catherine Drexel, Blessed Junipero Serra, you can see this is even out of date because some of these people aren't blesseds anymore. I'm aware of this. Blessed Kateri Tekakwitha, Maximilian Kolbe, priest and martyr, Jane Frances de Chanel, Andrew Kim Taigon, and priest and martyr, Paul Chong Hassan and companions, martyrs, Lawrence Ruiz and companions, Blessed Marie Rose Durocher, Paul the Cross, Rose Philippine Duchesne, Blessed Miguel Augustin Pro, Andrew Dunglock, priest and martyr, companions, Blessed Juan Diego, and Our Lady of Guadalupe. So some of these are also marked. They give you the date for them. See, some of them are only for the USA. Or does that mean just that they're from the USA? I don't know why exactly that's there. I mean, they're saints from the USA, but do we only celebrate them here? It doesn't really explain that. See, and that's the thing, right, friends? There's a lot of things that aren't 100% explained. Then it has new memorials. So that was everything all together. And then they're going to tell you these are the new memorials broken down. And then, pages are so fine. Proper calendar for the dioceses of the United States of America. So this is just giving us American saints. This is a little page. It's not much. So this includes like Saint Elizabeth Ann Seton. Was she on our original list here? No. So then this is just for America. So like this one, it just tells you see volume 1. She doesn't have anything special just for her. Ouch. John Newman. Nothing just for him yet, just says see volume 1, 1692. And they don't actually tell you what you're seeing. It could be like for a virgin, for a martyr, for a doctor of the church. It's not telling you that, what propers you're going to. It's just telling you a page number to go to. And I have volume 4, so it's not going to help us. We can't just look that up. And some of these do just say, like, in the diocese in the United States after the date. So maybe if you're in other countries, you don't celebrate them, or you don't celebrate them on that particular date. I don't know, because now they've been raised to, a lot of those, to saints. So if they're a saint, you'd think they'd be celebrated everywhere. It gets confusing, right? Which is why so many of us have the little Saint Joseph guide. Have you seen these? I don't know if other countries have them as well, but we do in America for our Liturgy of the Hours version. This is actually a St. Joseph guide. There's a plain one for the Roman Liturgy of the Hours. This is one for the Roman Franciscan. So this includes Franciscan saints and blesseds. And you're like, what? Yes, we have saints that we celebrate that aren't on the general calendar. And you know that's going to happen. Let me see where there is one. So like Clare of Assisi. See how it's got some bolded numbers? So if it's Clare of Assisi or you see bolded numbers in this particular book, then you come over here. Now, if you've got Christian Prayer, the 1-volume Liturgy of the Hours, your book is going to look different. But if you've got the 4-volume, it matches in color. This book is green, this book is green. They go together. Some people like to have one book for all of them, but I imagine it's kind of chunky, and this fits in here. So this is the proper offices of Franciscan saints and blesseds just for these particular weeks. And so I'm helpful. I added the saints. So we would come over here for Maximilian Kolbe, and it tells you that he's first order. There's a little biography of him. And then we have the readings for the office of reading, morning prayer. So he has some parts in here, and then a lot of it is taken from the main book, and it tells you he comes from the common of pastors and missionaries. It's where you get the other parts for him. But when it was somebody like St. Clare, let me go back to St. Clare. For St. Clare, because we're Franciscans, the whole thing was in this book. Now, it did say only the first order considered it a full feast and would play evening prayer 1. We voted on that. And we did it anyway. The hymns, occasionally they even have hymns in here. We cannot always figure out the tune. It doesn't give us the tune. But sometimes it, like most hymns, they fit to multiple tunes. And we found that the one Evening Prayer 2 for St. Clare actually kind of fit to Ode to Joy. You had to put 2 verses together. But that fit. So you could have these supplements to help you say it. I know a lot of you are probably like, that's a lot. I don't think that when you're starting off by yourself, you need all these supplements. Learn the rhythm of it first, and then do it in a group setting. Get somebody who's been praying it for a while, or ask a friar because they say it in common to help you out with it. And you're gonna catch on. But there's still gonna be days when you're like, I am not sure what to do. Sorry, I'm just trying to taking a lot of those inserts out so they don't fall out when we're going. So let's just open our volume. If you have the 4-volume, volume 4, we're going to open it up. After the title page, Liturgy of the Hours, there's a small little, well, basically, there's another title page. We don't want the table of contents. We're going to go to the next one after that. Nope. We're going to jump to page 11. The table of liturgical days from the general norms for the liturgical year and the new general Roman calendar, numbers 59 to 61. So the order of precedence for liturgical days is governed solely by the following table, unless you go rogue and vote amongst your friends, like we did for St. Clare. But normally this is what's going to happen. What are the things that, it says it's a table and it's not a table. I find that very annoying. But so the top tier, and the top tier is divided into 4 things on its own. So the very top thing, if it's Easter, especially the Easter Triduum of the Lord's Passion and Resurrection, it trumps everything. Doesn't matter if somebody's feast day, because, Easter moves, right? So it's going to fall on different feast days at different times. And I'm sorry if your favorite saint gets bumped, but they're going to get bumped by Easter. This is the Christian faith. Easter's number 1. Easter bumps everything. And it's not just Easter, it's the Easter Triduum. So the 3 days, right? Number 2, same thing follows after Easter. The very next thing is Christmas, Epiphany, Ascension, Pentecost, Sundays of Advent, Lent, and the season of Easter, the whole season of Easter, Ash Wednesday, weekdays of Holy Week, Monday through Thursday inclusive, days within the octave of Easter. So number 2 is a lot of things though, right? So that can get confusing right there. But number 2, let's go over that again. So top thing, Easter Triduum. The next tier of things, and these should not conflict with Easter at all. Christmas, Epiphany, Ascension, Pentecost, Sundays of Advent, Lent, and the season of Easter. The season of Easter, I'm not sure what entirely they mean by that. That one's a little flaky. Unless it means in within the season of Easter, because it's indented after that. So Ash Wednesday, the weekdays of Holy Week, Monday through Thursday inclusive. Why only Monday through Thursday? Because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are number 1, the Easter Triduum, right? Days within the octave of Easter, so the 8 days following Easter. Okay, that was a lot right there. So if you just get those down, awesome. Okay, so you could also just incorporate these from the top down, right? You don't have to incorporate them all right away. It does get confusing. That's why they make all those other guides that tell you what to do when. It literally tells you, sorry, I'm going to try and show you a blank page that I haven't written all over. I do take notes on it some. And it still gets confusing here. but it's the date. So it's October 4th. What happens? Well, it's St. Francis of Assisi. But look, there's some, I think there's some in here. Yeah, you see, for the very next day, you could do this or this or this. So you get to decide. Sometimes it's a choose your own adventure in Liturgy of the Hours. And if you're doing it within a group, you have to come to a decision. So in our group, we have somebody who has the app for the Divine Office, and that's all they have. And they don't have all those ors. So that sets our precedent. Let's go back to that chart. What's next? So number three in the ranking list, and 1 and 2 were pretty inclusive. Number 3 is any solemnity of the Lord, the Blessed Virgin Mary, and saints listed in the general calendar, as well as All Souls Day. So that's why it'll tell you again in the book whether it's a solemnity memorial. Those are normally abbreviated, so solemnity is SOL, memorial is MEM. Sometimes they only abbreviate it down to one letter. You're just going to have to be aware of how your book or guide writes it out. So that's a lot. Solemnities of the Lord, the Blessed Virgin Mary, and the saints listed in the general calendar. So not the Franciscan calendar, they're saying the general calendar. And then All Souls Day. Number 4 is proper solemnities, namely the solemnity of the principal patron of the place, city, or state in which you live, the solemnity of the dedication and anniversary of the dedication of the particular church, probably the particular church in which you are, solemnity of the titular saint of a particular church. Titular. Does that mean the title church? That could be. So the first one was the dedication and anniversary of a particular church. Oh, that can also be like the Church of St. Mary Major or something, though. It doesn't have to be your church. It doesn't have to be. Okay, but the solemnity of the titular saint of a particular church, like the Feast of the Portiuncula for Franciscans. The solemnity of a titular saint, founder or principal patron of an order or congregation. Oh, so St. Francis is pretty far down. He'd be down in number 4, part D. Yeesh, I would have thought he was higher than that. But he can get, well, fair enough, he could get bumped. His feast day is never going to get bumped by Easter, Christmas, Epiphany, Ascension. But theoretically, if that happened, yeah, they'd have to bump him and he'd be okay with that. So, okay. Let's look at number 2. What is number 2? Feasts of the Lord in a general calendar. So solemnities of the Lord were up in number 1, but feasts of the Lord are down in number 2. That tells you solemnities must be higher ranking than feasts if we didn't know that. Also, number 2, Sundays of the Christmas season and Sundays in ordinary time. So Sundays in ordinary time can get bumped for all of those things in number 1, including the solemnity of a titular saint, founder or principal patron of an order or congregation, right? So Sundays in ordinary time can get bumped. I did not know that one. That one came as a shock to me. The next one is Feast of the Blessed Virgin Mary and of the saints in the general calendar. Proper feasts, namely, and then there's a bunch. Feast of the principal patron of a diocese. Who is the principal patron of my diocese? I have no idea, friends. I'm going to have to look that up. Feast of the anniversary of the dedication of the cathedral. Feast of the principal patron of a territory, province, country, or more extensive territory? I don't even know. Feast of a titular saint, founder or principal patron of an order, congregation, or religious province, observing the directives in number 4. That was the one we said before. Oh, that was solemnity before. That was solemnity of a titular saint. So this is the feast of a solemnity saint. Oh, see, friends, this is hard. You got to start incorporating the top ones and work your way down, I think. That's the only way this is going to work. Or buy a guide. And I know it's confusing, and that's what I wanted to show you, basically. It is confusing, and there are days that you're going to get upset, or you're going to banter back and forth with your friends. What did they celebrate? Why did they celebrate it? Remember to do that in charity, because this is not easy. The system is kind of whack. It's not easy. We're getting down there. It gets down to weekdays of Advent from December 17th to December 24th, days within the octave of Christmas, and weekdays of Lent. And then there's a whole number 3 section, obligatory memorials in general calendar. Proper obligatory memorials, and that has 3 notes listed there. Optional memorials. weekdays of Advent up to December 16th. Weekdays of Christmas from January 2nd until after the Saturday of Epiphany. Weekdays of Easter from Monday after the octave of Easter to the Saturday before Pentecost. The very last guy in the line is weekdays in ordinary time. He's the lowest guy in the ranking. Celebrations on the same day. And it tells you need to figure out the one that holds the higher ranking. But if a solemnity is impeded by a liturgical day that takes precedence over it, it's transferred to the closest day, which is not in numbers 1 in sections 1 to 2 above it. Other celebrations are just omitted that year. So like this year, I think St. Maximilian Kolbe got the axe. But did he? Because since he was made a saint, was his day raised up? Oh, seriously. If on the same day, Vespers of the current office and the first Vespers of the following day, right, this is what's confusing, are to be celebrated. The Vespers of the day holding the higher rank in the table of liturgical days takes precedence. If both days are of the same rank, Vespers of the current day takes precedence. I feel like I'm playing Pokemon or something here. That got a little crazy, didn't it? And that's why I say it's easier to buy a guide. It also gives you the celebration dates in here. If you don't have a guide, you can kind of follow that. A lot of people do like to check divineoffice.org. Even if they aren't using it, they may check to see. But I know I'm going to tell you, friends, accidents happen. Not every time you check every website is it going to be correct. I don't even know, is divineoffice.org worldwide or is it just the USA? Because you can see that USA is a little bit different. So divineoffice.org may be for the world and not for the USA. So that would change what they have. Oh, I hadn't even considered that. What country they're in does totally determine that. Now that I've read that chart, I know that. Whoa. And of course they don't include, they're not Franciscan specific. Now some of the apps claim that you can put in a specific calendar and it doesn't work. I've never gotten it to work. If you have, put it in the comments below and then we'll know. Because one is even done by the Friars of the Holy Land, the Friars of the Monastery of the Holy Land. You know what I mean, don't you, friends? It's in DC. I'm not thinking of the name right. We'll just say the Holy Land Friars in DC. I believe that they have an app as well. And when I choose the Franciscan calendar, I think it includes the stigmata and St. Francis himself, but nothing else. And even within the Franciscan order, there's variations. There are some that are a higher feast day for clares or for a particular group of friars minor, or for us, the secular Franciscans. So even within our Franciscan family, because we're so varied between our first, second, and third orders, even it gets confusing even within the general. Notice, I think it said the general Franciscan Roman calendar. It's not specific for your particular order, so you have to take that into account. So it's a lot of work. Is it worth it? It is. And again, you're going to grow. I think if you've watched my videos, you've seen how I've grown and changed how I've prayed it over these 2-3 years I've been making these videos with you. Cut yourself some slack, have some charity, and you may be doing things a little bit differently than others. So before you grab your books out, go over what you're doing. One of the easy way to do it is say, what are we celebrating? Is it like Friday of week 4? Okay, start with that. And then just to clarify, you could say, what is the first psalm you have, or what is the first antiphon you have? Because antiphons are things that tend to change with a saint's day, whereas the psalm can sometimes be the same. Or say, what propers are we celebrating today? And that will tell you if you're praying the weekday, like I said, the Friday week 4, or are you doing like the common of pastors? So you're going to learn the lingo as you go along and be able to ask the proper questions before you start to make sure you're literally all on the same page. Now, if somebody is using the 1 volume, of course, they're technically going to be in a different page, but they can figure out things for morning and evening prayer and be totally in sync with you. The thing that varies the most between those two that I've found for morning and evening prayer is that The psalm prayers, which again, if you're not in America, you have no idea what I'm talking about that. Often after our psalms, we have this weird prayer that's really a summary of the psalm, and I am not sure why it's there. Some people love it, or you hate it, or you just do it because it's there. So I guess there's 3 opinions on that. I feel it kind of takes away from the psalm, but some people say it unlocks the psalm from them. I would prefer if that was read silently when we pray it, but that's me. And then I probably haven't always felt that way, and I may change my mind down the road. Who knows? But when I pray it in common, because it's in the book, I read it. The other thing that will change is sometimes the concluding prayer can be different. The concluding prayer is often slightly worded differently, as well as the reading. For some reason, Christian prayer has a longer reading. Now, there's another volume that's a 1 volume called Shorter Christian Prayer, and I'm not sure exactly what's in that book. If you have one, or you're a publisher and want me to review it, go ahead and send it to me, and then I can speak to that as well. Friends, I know this was a lot, and it is a lot. The key takeaway is try it out. Check with your friends. You're going to learn along the way. Cut yourself some slack. Have some charity with yourself and your friends. You don't need to argue about it. Don't need to argue about what tune goes to what hymn. Just come to a consensus and do it together. I think the chief thing is that you are praying the liturgy, the hours, and there's absolutely more power when you pray it in common. And are you going to pray it perfectly with the different roles? Probably not. But it's okay. Have a little bit of charity. If you really want to learn, find an order and go ask if you can sit in with them for their morning prayer or their evening prayer to help learn it, or ask a brother, sister, nun, friar, monk, brother. Ask someone to help you out and show you their system. Now remember, it may be slightly different from congregation to congregation as well. Give them some charity, give some to yourself, do your best. It is absolutely worth it. God bless you, friends.